Some time ago, well, more than some time ago, it was several years ago at this point, I did a video here on this channel. The video is about when I bought the Star Wars collection that turned out to be stolen. That video came out 3 years ago now, I think it was. It's a very old video. It's not very good. I chose the worst music possible. I have no idea what I was thinking, but the music for that video is atrocious. And the video itself is like 46 minutes, I think. So it's extremely long. But I go over the details of what happened during that time. The whole process between the police, the sting operation here at my house, getting the stuff back, getting literally all the interactions with the quote-unquote victim. And so here is just a quick taste of what I'm talking about.
This Vancouver man says someone turned to the dark side when they stole his Star Wars memorabilia from his home.
I tried to use Star Wars as realize that we all walk that line.
After taking what he says is the most extensive collection of this kind in Washington state.
And I go online to see what's going on. This blew up. Richard called everybody. Whoever would listen to him, he called them. CNN reported on it, Fox. It's crazy. What they failed to mention was me and trying to help them.
Richard Bates had more than $40,000 worth of vintage Star Wars merchandise stolen from his home. And here's a shot of the collection.
They used my picture from Facebook of the shop, but didn't say it was in my store. So what I was getting was calls and emails and hate mail saying, look what's happened. Some people actually called the police telling them that it's here in my shop. And I was getting a lot of bad press out of it. In the video prior, it was just me talking about the details, and I was letting you guys draw your own conclusion. Now I'll let you know what my conclusion is. It was an insurance scam. I can actually flat out say that now because I don't own the store anymore. I'm just out of that game altogether, so now I can just practically be an unfiltered person now of what I think actually happened. So I'm gonna go through some of the comments because there's some good ones, there's some funny ones, and there's a few comments that I thought if you guys have subscribed because of that video, I'll address. I thought it'd be kind of fun to talk about it. But the short version is, bought some stuff, turned out to be, again, quote unquote, stolen. I sold about half of it, got all of it back. Guy was pissed they got the stuff back. He was trying to cash in on Star Wars brand because Star Wars was just about to come out. It was like 2 months before episode 7. So right before the peak of things. So he wanted to cash in on it with a major inflated price of $30,000. Basically the story went national. Yeah, national. Across the state. CNN was reporting on the story. He was going to anyone that would listen to him and tell the story of how his stuff was stolen from his house. Even though we knew who did it, he knew who did it, and he got his stuff back, but that wasn't good enough. So let's just go into some comments, shall we? All right, first comment is from actually about 3 hours ago. Greg Katz with a Z. I'm 46 and I have collected vintage Star Wars memorabilia for my whole life. The bulk of the collection is mint on card or mint in box. I would definitely agree with others that Richard's collection would fetch more than $10,000, although I do realize I'm commenting on a 3-year-old video and the collectible landscape has changed drastically with the release of the movies. I agree. It is super fishy that both Richard and Ben have offered you $1,000. I think Richard and Ben were trying to defraud the insurance company. Yes, that is more than likely what happened. Again, there's no 100% proof. There's so many different things that lead down that path, red flags to thinking that's what it is, but that is pretty much the gist of what happened. Where he's getting the $10,000, if you have not watched that video, the $10,000 for that is what I was valuing it at. It was about $10,000 to $11,000. Oh my gosh, it's been so long. I probably should rewatch that video. But it was around $10,000 worth of stuff. Now, when I owned the business, I tried to pay 50% of what things are worth. But this was also before the movies came out, before the massive flux. Star Wars stuff at the time really wasn't fetching huge amounts of money. Granted, it was still pretty big penny, but not like it is today. And actually, even today, it's starting to drop. It's been dropping right now. But once that movie hit, man, things just quadrupled overnight. But at that time, that was the actual street market value of the collection that was brought to me. Alec Vodka says, dude, chew some Toms. What's a Tom? Toms? No. I think he means Tums. All these Swirls says, need a new DJ. You're 100% correct. I don't know what I was thinking. This is my favorite person on here. Showroom is a shit show. I recommend everyone stay away from that shop. Says no mix. Remember that name. I'll get to him in a little bit. Mike M says, you sound like a stand-up dude. Richard tried to scam the insurance company. I wonder what happened to Ben. Jail time? So the story of Ben, there's a long story of that as well. But he turned himself in, had a bunch of court dates. I was supposed to appear in court and testify. Then he skipped out of his bail and went on the run for a bit. Then he was brought back in and retried. Then I got a letter in the mail saying that I was going to get restitution for the money that I just paid him for the collection. Then that never happened. He went to jail for I think a year or so. I saw the case file somewhere around here. And then he got out last year or 2 years ago. And yeah, about 2 years ago. And then I still never got any restitution. I've called in a couple of times. He hasn't shown up in court or appeared for things, so he's been rearrested a few times because of it. And I should probably follow up now again, see what's going on with that. I'm never gonna get restitution. Restitution only works if you're in the state of that it happened in. So I'm really close to Oregon. All you have to do is go over to Oregon and move there as his residence. I would then have to personally track him down, find him with a lawyer, and then hit him with his restitution. Then he could just leave again, move to a different state or whatever. So it's never gonna happen. But it's still, I can make his life a living hell. Try and get my money back. Richard equals Dick says, Brewski who died Hosky. Nice name. Oh, but there's a reply. Brian is a liar, says No Nom Mix. Who the hell is Brian? And who the heck is No Mix? Dave Willie says, write a script, man. You can't make this shit up. Through the lightsabers and droids, it's already weird. Lightsabers and droids. I don't know what that means. The thoughtful criminals. The thoughtful criminal says, I feel sorry for Richard. He looks like he has Down syndrome. I'm glad to hear you recovered from this. It's an honorable mention there. Rip off 50%, says 86th Street. 50% is pretty generous in the line of work that I was at. If you go into a pawn shop or another type of buy, sell, trade business, like for instance GameStop, you go into there and let's say you bring in an Xbox or a PlayStation that values $300-400. You're only going to get maybe $50 to $100, maybe $120 for it, and they're going to go around and sell it for more than double of what they paid. So when I opened my business, I wanted to pay 50%. I wanted to be super fair, even though I won't actually make 50%. I'll actually make less because I have to pay the overhead and taxes and fees and things like that. So I was making probably 35% off of every purchase, which isn't a lot of money, but I had a good reputation, and so for me that was worth it. Reinhard T. Van Rensburg says, don't ever allow assholes to accuse you of anything. Just get a good lawyer to do the talking. When you buy stuff again, get the seller's ID plus address of seller. Get a camera for your shop as well. I think Reinhardt didn't actually watch the video, because in the video I mentioned that how the process of buying stuff works and the fact that I did have cameras in my store. When I bought things from my store, I photocopied their driver's license and had them fill out all the information, their phone number and other sorts of things as well. Now they can write whatever the hell they want, so they can fake that information, but I still have a copy of the driver's license. That is how they even caught the guy that sold me the stuff to begin with. Oh, here's this No Mix again. He knowingly withheld items that he desired for himself. Richards is one of the most generous and honest people I have ever met. You're a scamming business owner. How does No Mix know this? Unless he is Richard. So what is happening here is he originally commented under, I think his girlfriend or sister, or somebody relative, under the name of Jamie Bates. I said something in the regards of, hey, I know this is you type of thing. And then I started getting comments from this No Mix guy. No Mix? And it's Richard. He's just going through, replying to people's comments, throwing out bunches of different type of things. But he called me Brian. I'm assuming he's referencing me. He kept saying Brian's a liar. I guess he just doesn't remember my name. This might be the dumbest police department in history. Yeah, I probably have to agree on that one. Charles McCoy writes, well, I moved to Washington from Minnesota to avoid bad cops. And now I hear this. Great. Nowhere is safe. Oh, and there's our buddy Richard replying. Brian is a liar, man. All there is to it. Eddie Turbine writes a paragraph here, a couple of them. This guy strikes me as a type of individual who would not say boo to a goose. I do not believe for a moment that you were back-chatting the police as much as you claim. Back-chatting. Should have gone to the police the very moment it started sounding suspicious, i.e. when they allegedly called you on this impossible line offering money. If not then. So real quick, I couldn't go to the police. I had maybe 2 hours notice prior to everything that went down. Got a phone call early morning. Basically, Ben telling me some guy is going to come into my store and take everything out. But I felt like that he was actually going to break in and basically come in and steal the stuff. So I went in and just got out of the store. And that's when I got back to the shop. Richard came in and told me he already filed a police report and the police were going to be contacting me. So I knew I needed to call the police because I was already going to be dealing with him. James Scott writes, please, can you re-upload this edit without the backing music? Many thanks, bud. I agree. I'm sorry. The music was a very bad choice. I have no idea why. I thought because this is going to be a long video that I thought people would get boring, so I'd spice up with some tunes. It was bad. It was a very bad choice on my part. Rat Parker writes, wasted 40 minutes. The cops had every right to take you in and arrest you for receiving stolen property. You run a pawn shop for toys. No, not really, actually. Pawn shop, you can give loans and things. I don't. I just buy, sell, and trade. It's not a pawn shop. But once an individual offers you $1,000 to receive such property or keeping their name out of it is a big red flag. Duh! And that is why I went about the way I did. You made a big mistake for not calling the cops right off the bat when Ben called asking for the toys back. Wonder why you were a suspect? Well, there you go. Like I said, I didn't have enough time to even call the cops. Why wouldn't I just call the cops immediately the second it is? Even if I thought it was a red flag, why would I just call the cops? What would I even tell them? Logan Ware says, I could definitely see this as a Seth Rogen and Co movie. I would watch it, says them. Oh, yeah, maybe. Dia's turn. Dia's a turn? Dia's a turn. Jesus Christ, hoping on a flaming pogo stick. This is a hot mess. Chris, from the start, you're a suspect. Just for having a roommate and a wife. What does that? Who does that? Well, a good friend. A friend of mine needed a place to stay for a while, and I had an extra room, so I let my friend move in to help him out. I've done that 3 times now, and since I've lived at my place of residence. That's what I do. I help people out. Also, you weren't worried about your money? Of course I was worried about my money. That's a lot of money. Why would you help Richard since he's tried to steal shit from you for your store 3 months before all this? Doesn't matter about my opinion at that point. I have a business and a name and a reputation to uphold. So regardless, something that I can't prove from months ago, I had to put that aside and try to fix the situation at hand. Even though I didn't want to help him, I'd helped him anyway to try and fix my reputation. I hope I see this Richard at a toy show in Washington. His ass up. Oh, and there he is, of course, to follow up with the response. Granted, this was only a year ago. This video came out 3 years ago, so Richard's still following this story, by the way. I would love to see you and your friends try to do something like that to him. Come on, please, people, we know it's you, buddy. Eric Showers with a Z. This guy. Who the hell would trade something in worth $10,000 and receive $5,000 back? Terrible way to run a business. Well, actually not. If somebody wants to come in and sell some stuff, then that's up to them, and I can offer amounts, and if they're happy to take that amount, then that's between me and that person, right? Because a lot of people don't realize or want to spend the time on how to sell the stuff, or again, spend the time to physically try and sell it themselves. It's a lot of work and effort that goes into it, taxes and things that they don't want to deal with. So that's why buy-sell trade stores are around to do it for them. Funny he's called Richard. He's a dick. Oh, there's Richard following up. He would beat the life out of you. He's a great dude. If he's a great dude, then why the heck would he be going around beating people up? Dick is short for Richard, but describes him to a T. Oh, there he is. Good pal Richard's back at it. I know Richard personally. He's a great guy, honest and very giving. Brent Polk says, go fuck yourself, all you Nazi shitholes. Want to buy at 10%, then turn around and make 85%? Got what you deserve. Where are you getting those numbers, pal? Hey, bro, you did awesome. A lot of people wouldn't have even given him his stuff back, so that was awesome. We got our good pal Richard right there to give his little 2 cents. He was forced to give the stolen goods back. He was trying to keep them by storing them at his house. So I was forced to give them back by actually telling Richard from day one, the second I met him saying his stuff was stolen, that the stuff was at my house. And then the police came in and I told them it was at my house. How am I forced to give it back? I told them I was storing it there for safekeeping, that they could come back and get it at any time. If I was trying to, play a sly thing, I could have just said I sold it all. Hate to see good, honest people getting screwed. The thing that makes it worse is you actually try to help Richard and he's the one that's pissed. Well, if you read this, Richard, f*** you and shove your collection up your ass, says Chris K. Oh, there's Richard coming back with his little zinger. He did not do anything to help Richard. He kept the stolen collection at his house, and only being forced by police did Richard get it back. That is 100% false. Just read your police report. I don't understand. If you're not legally obligated to help, I wouldn't have helped. And that is all I'm reading from that comment, because I don't need legality to tell me to do the right thing or not do the right thing. I will always do the right thing regardless of it being the law or not. I knew I didn't have to actually do what I did. Did it anyway. That's who I am. Dude, this movie shit right here says heavy liquid official. Oh, there's Richard. Exactly. Shady toy store owner getting his hands on some serious rare Star Wars collectibles and keeping them at his house, knowing they were stolen, trying to keep the information from the police. I never once said they weren't there. From day one, I told him that. And Richard himself told it to his face with 2 witnesses. Of course, they're his friends, so they're, of course, not gonna back me on that. You think you're gonna rip me off? I don't think so. Boom! Jamie Bates. Here's that comment. Rich, you were not ripped off, at least by me. Joking. I know you gotta rip people off to make a living, says Jamie Bates. Let's just leave it at that last one there. That's pretty much it. There's hundreds and hundreds of more comments, so if you feel like getting a good chuckle, go check them out. The link is in the description below. There you go. There's a little commentary, a little follow-up video to that time of my life. It was not great. If you guys want to know more about this type of stuff, I think I might start doing a podcast. What do you guys think? Just talking about some stuff that I learned, things I've witnessed, the stories I've heard while owning that business. Some of them will blow your mind. Some of them are funny. Some of them are disgusting. That is all I got for you today. If you guys stuck it out through this, thank you. If you guys have watched that original video from years ago and you subscribed because of that video, thank you for sticking around, and here's a little video just for you. Be sure to like, comment, and click that bell, because you know you don't want to miss one of my next videos. Trust me, I got some good things coming up. I'm just another Chris, and I'll catch you in the next video. See ya. I had forgotten I ordered these when I had owned my shop. One of the big things on here, and they emphasize it, is that these are not toys, so I'm going to give one away. A non-profit comic book store, which I thought was really cool. So all the proceeds actually went to charity.